You ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Not you.
Oh, confused.
Episode 75 of Should We Be Talking About This? Say your name.
I'm Chance.
I'm Racheal. We survived Snowmageddon.
It got real intense here.
I thought that was the last thing that we talked about, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, we survived. It was a good 2 inches of snow. They canceled school for 2 days.
Uh-huh.
We were stuck in our houses for 2 days. It was ridiculous.
It was out of control.
It's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
But we made it through, and it wasn't like last year we didn't lose power.
Yeah.
The only thing we had is like broken tree branches everywhere. Because even Texas trees are weak when it comes to cold weather. And they were like, no fucking way, man. And they just gave up. Broke everywhere. Anything else?
Yeah. So check us out on Facebook
Oh, yeah.
and Instagram
Yep.
and the Twitters.
And Patreon. Join our Patreon.
Yeah, just $1 a month. You can get ad-free episodes.
Do all the things. We did get an awesome review
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Those are so great to get.
What are you saying? I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh, I was just talking about reviews. On Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a notification that Sarah Smith recommended Should We Be Talking About This on Facebook.
Hey.
I didn't even know that was possible.
That's pretty cool.
That's fucking awesome. Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
That's my new best friend. Okay, well, I want to go last today because mine is not dark at all.
Okay.
We're not even sure if mine's real. I want to throw that out there.
I love those.
So why don't you start?
My topic is on the Schoharie crash.
Are we saying this right? Schoharie is what you're going to go with?
I looked up how to pronounce it and I wrote it out here.
Phonetically?
I mean, you know how next to a word they'll break it down.
Yeah, that's phonetically.
Okay. But they put enunciation on hair.
Okay.
So it's Schoharie.
Cool.
It's a place.
I'm in.
And it's in New York. Okay, so it's 2018 and we're in Amsterdam, New York.
Okay.
Amy, she had just married Axel Steenberg a few months earlier.
Axel is such a dope-ass name.
It really is. To celebrate Amy's 30th birthday, they were going to go to the brewery Omegang. It's just south of Cooperstown, New York.
And we're sure you're saying that one right, too?
Yes, I am. So they're going to go to this brewery and hang out, and there was a bunch of stuff that they could do there. They were going to go with a bunch of family and friends. Mm-hmm. There's like 17 of them.
Oh.
There's like all 3 of Amy's sisters, 2 of which brought their husbands, Axel's brother, and the rest was made up of a bunch of friends and stuff. And the brewery was about an hour away.
Okay.
They were going to take a party bus to and from the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard word to say.
Brewery?
Yeah. But 2 days earlier, Axel found out that the bus that they were going to take broke down. So the operator gave him a refund. So he scrambles and he lands on Prestige Limousine Services.
Okay.
And he gets this scheduled the morning of, like 9 o'clock that morning.
Being responsible.
Yes, absolutely.
Not drinking and driving.
No. And it was going to cost him $1,500.
Damn.
Yeah.
Limos are expensive.
They really are. Well, and it's an hour away. So I don't know if you rent them by the hour or what. But
I don't know.
anyways, everyone met at Axel and Amy's house. And this 2001 Ford Excursion limo showed up. So it's not a bus. Originally, they were taking this bus with plenty of seats and everything. But this is a limo excursion limo.
There's not plenty of seats in that thing?
Well, there's enough for them, but compare it to a bus.
Oh, yeah.
Like a party bus and stuff. And this thing was loud. Some of the people on the ride were texting other friends saying, this is insanely loud. Everybody's going deaf. There's
like inside it?
Yeah.
I got you.
There's holes rusted through the floorboard.
Oh my God.
Yeah. When they took off, they didn't take the obvious direct route. They ended up taking a winding 2-lane rural road. And like I said, one of the people in the limo texted a friend and said that it sounds like it's going to explode.
Oh no. That sounds like foreshadowing.
This limo took a route that went uphill, and they climbed 520 feet in 2 miles.
So like a really steep ass hill.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
At the top, there was a sign that warned truckers to use a different route because of the steep downhill road. Mm-hmm. And according to a witness, they saw the limo make a turn and pulled off to the shoulder. That witness then drove past the limo and noticed its backup lights and backup beeper were on, but the vehicle was going forward slowly. So they got malfunctions going on left and right on this thing.
Gotcha.
And a passenger in that vehicle noticed that the driver looked kind of frazzled and was pointing towards the valley up ahead. Don't know what was being said inside the car, but now if you travel down that hill, you end up hitting a three-way intersection.
Oh, shit.
Those same witnesses that saw that limo pull over, they were now at the bottom of the hill at the intersection. They said they heard what sounded like a jet engine.
Oh my God.
Turned around and noticed the limo was flying towards them at over 115 miles an hour.
Damn.
Or that's 185 kilometers an hour. At the last second, it swerved out of the way of the witnesses' cars.
Who had just stopped at this intersection?
Yeah. And it goes into this parking lot of an Appleberry country store.
I don't know.
It's
Why'd you look at me like I would know what that is?
It's like a Cracker Barrel, I think.
Oh, I love Cracker Barrel.
Kind of place. Well, it goes into this parking lot and slams in this SUV and launches that SUV like 50 feet.
Wow.
Or 15 meters away. And it ends up in a drainage ditch. The limo does. All 18 people inside the limo died.
From it, like on impact?
Yes.
Holy shit.
16 of them were pronounced dead at the scene. The other 2 were transported to hospitals where they ended up getting pronounced dead.
Oh my God. So.
And there were 2 bystanders that got killed as well.
Holy shit. So
20 people in total.
It makes sense. I mean, limos don't have seatbelts.
So.
I mean, I'm sure they do. I've never.
They're trying to change
noticed.
the laws and make them all have seatbelts. Mm-hmm. And all of these had lap belts. All the seats had lap belts in this limo.
But does anyone really ever use
None of them
a
were using
seatbelt? Yeah.
No. And the law was in New York that it was only the front seats that were required to wear them. And they're working on trying to change that now.
Wow. So 20 people in one car accident?
Yeah.
Could you imagine how tragic it is for the family members that are left? They lost like almost everyone.
Yeah.
In one car accident.
Some paramedics that went to that scene developed mental health issues.
I bet.
Investigation showed that there were no skid marks on the ground, and it was such a high energy impact that it drove the engine into the passenger compartment. There was no room left inside the cab for even anybody to survive.
Wow.
It was being treated as a criminal investigation because of the amount of human negligence that was possibly involved.
Yeah, I mean, no skid marks means the brakes, or maybe the brakes went out.
We're going to get there.
Oh, God. I can't help myself.
There ended up being a whole pissing match about who was allowed to look at the vehicle between the state police and the National Transportation and the National...
The what?
The National Transportation Safety Board.
Okay.
The safety board wanted to inspect the vehicle, but state police wouldn't let them, and it went back and forth.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah. The limo itself, it was a chopped Ford Excursion, like I said, and it was extended to 34 feet or 10 meters long.
I don't know why, but I'm imagining like a janky, because it had rusted floorboards. Like, I'm imagining like a do-it-yourself welder in there combining 2 vehicles.
Yeah, I couldn't find any actual pictures of this specific one, but that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So now this vehicle is 15 feet longer and 13,000 pounds. Because of the added seats, the limo would have required a federal certificate because it could transport more people, but it didn't have this certificate.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it was on the up and up.
No. The limousine was bought by Prestige in 2016, and the company they bought it from said it was in good working order and just passed its last inspection. There was a driver for another company that shared limos with Prestige. He said that he had previously driven the Excursion limo, and it was absolutely unsafe. He said the brakes barely worked. It even started smoking during a prom. Yeah. And the parents of the kids going to that prom wouldn't let them get into the vehicle.
Good.
Yeah.
That's dope. You know what? I think a lot of people think that you're being an asshole. Like if that thing showed up and you go, "Oh no, thank you. Like we're done here."
Yeah.
I think you are afraid of being an asshole.
Absolutely.
But be a fucking asshole. When it comes to shit like that, especially putting your kids in a janky ass thrown together Frankenstein vehicle, I'd be an asshole.
Yeah, and it started smoking?
Mm-mm.
No. In March of 2018, it went through a quick inspection and failed. And instead of getting this inspection done at the DMV,
Mm-hmm.
like they're supposed to for a vehicle of this size, they're getting them done at like inspection places,
Oh,
like a little quick car or something like that.
right.
So it fails this inspection in March. This was one day after the owner, Shahid Hussein, left the country to go back to Pakistan due to some health issues, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
So because of this, police, they weren't able to interview him at all. Turns out this guy was also a longtime informant for the FBI.
Oh,
Uh-huh. And he got hundreds of thousands of dollars and opened several businesses that racked up a whole bunch of safety violations.
oh, that's not good.
He was going to be deported for false ID or something like that, and they turned him into an informant.
Mm.
So in September of 2018, just a month before the accident, it failed its inspection because it didn't have the certificate it required.
Right.
It also had an anti-lock brake light that stayed lit constantly, a dangling brake line,
Oh,
defective emergency exits, and defective windshield wipers. So it's got a whole list of things.
Right.
It should not have been on the road at all. During the first 6 months of 2018, Prestige's insurance company canceled coverage on the excursion 6 times.
how did they keep getting it back?
So what happens is the DMV revokes the vehicle's registration and then gives it back once they get coverage again. So basically they say or show paperwork saying we got these issues fixed, blah, 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 it's roadworthy again, give us insurance again.
Oh, but that shit never got fixed?
There was paperwork saying it was getting fixed,
I gotcha.
but it wasn't really getting done.
Shady, shady.
The day before the crash is when it was restored for the 6th time.
Damn.
So after that March inspection failure, there were a couple of hearings held to see if Prestige could prove they had fixed the issues, and no one from Prestige ever showed up
Why didn't they shut him down?
because they just kept having to postpone it for more court hearings and stuff
Oh.
like that.
And you know what sucks? Is when Axel, or was that the guy that called for the limo company? I'm sure this was nowhere to be found whenever he Googled, just transportation or limos or party buses or whatever that
No.
morning. It's not right there on your search.
No, these companies are just kind of operating these limos however they see fit.
Ugh.
It was stated by a driver that had driven that limo before that the company did minimal maintenance on it, and the engine was unusually loud, just like everyone else was saying it was.
Right.
Another driver refused to drive that vehicle at all for 18 months leading up to the crash because it had bad brakes.
Good for him.
2 days before the crash, the limo was listed for sale on Craigslist.
Oh.
And the seller claimed it was DOT ready, Department of Transportation,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was in excellent condition. And during this investigation, they weren't able to identify who the seller was, but it was a phone number that was previously used by Prestige. The cause of the accident was ruled to be catastrophic brake failure because they weren't properly maintained.
Right.
The brake pads were corroded, and the tubing at the rear of the brakes was considered bad. The right shoe of the driver had an imprint of the brake pedal because he
Oh,
was
wow.
pushing the brakes so hard.
Holy crap.
The driver, Scott Licentia, did not have a commercial driver's license. The wife of the driver said that she had overheard phone calls where he would turn down having to drive that vehicle and he would request a different vehicle to drive. They did find weed in his system, but that doesn't mean he was
Yeah, there was,
high at the time.
even still, if he was high, if he had smoked weed, it was still brake failure.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with him, period.
No, in fact, his shoe shows that
Yeah.
he was pushing the pedal.
Plus, everyone knows when you're high and you're driving, you go way below the speed limit.
Way slow.
Way slow.
One thing that I found out was that there were a bunch of other limo companies that were surprised Prestige was even able to stay in business or stay operating.
Right.
Because if you have 20% of your vehicles in your fleet unserviceable, the state can force the company to stop operating. But Prestige had 80% of them not operating.
Oh, wow.
Because of this accident, there are some things that have come from it. Like stretch limos, they're not allowed to make U-turns anymore.
Oh my god, I didn't even know they were capable of making U-turns.
I guess if the street's big enough. And it is now a felony if you're operating a limousine and it causes a death.
Gotcha.
The design of the road played into this as well. After a fatal accident in 2008, the intersection was reconfigured.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, the downhill road straightened out, and vehicles over 18 short tons were banned from using that section of road. All